What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Today, I'm really honored to have a good friend and very special guest, Eric Sedransk from Member for a Day. Eric's done some really wonderful things combining golf and charity during the pandemic, and I'm really excited that he's here today to tell us a story. Let's get into it. So who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm Eric Sedransk, better known as Member for a Day. I've always loved the game of golf and always dreamt of working in golf.
Can you tell us the origination story about how Member for a Day turned into a charitable organization?
Yeah, sure. So I was unemployed during the pandemic and I left New York, drove down to Hilton Head, middle of March. Knew I wasn't gonna get a job, so I figured I would do something a little bit more creative and interesting and a way to give back. And so what started out as just a little side project, we ended up raising over $101,000 in 7 days. Next thing I know, we've spun it up into a full-time nonprofit fundraising platform through golf. We've done 6 or 7 auctions at last count, and we're raising a substantial amount of money for charity.
So how does the charity work?
Yeah, sure. So I'm partnering up with nonprofits and we're getting rounds of golf donated to some of the most exclusive private golf courses in the world, raising as much money as possible for said nonprofit. We're working with organizations as varied as cancer organizations, heart failure organizations, foundations for professional athletes, obviously a lot of stuff with COVID-19 right now, but we are totally charity agnostic and just want to work with amazing nonprofits.
Today is October 22nd, 2020. When did your first auction go live?
May 14th, I believe.
You have auctions booked from now till when?
February.
How much money have you raised to date so far?
We've just passed $200,000 since May.
Do you have any goals in mind for the rest of the year?
So the year goal is $1 million. And we got some big things cooking.
When did you realize this was going to be more than just a one-time thing?
My first hint was seeing the response on social media. A lot of people reached out and donated rounds, which was amazing, but it's more than that. I was just getting messages from people all around the world just saying, thank you. You know, my wife is a nurse. Thank you for doing this. And I've never been thanked for work on that sort of a scale before. And so I knew at that point that I had touched an emotional layer. And so I knew something was there. Getting some of the press we did and then seeing the response from the nonprofit community, it was pretty clear at that point that there was something larger here. And yeah, next thing I know, I had about 24 nonprofits reaching out to me and saying, hey, you did this for COVID, can you do it for X, Y, and Z? You know, I'm an entrepreneur by nature, and so I had to figure out a way of essentially creating a structure that worked, and we're still figuring it out. I look at this as just one big test right now, and ultimately creating a platform that's gonna raise millions of dollars through the game of golf.
What is it about golf that sets up so well for a charity like this?
Yeah, I think the first part is that charity and golf have been intertwined for a long time. I've always seen this connection. I mean, it's not a surprise, right? You have private golf courses, you have people of wealth hopefully are interested in donating money. So I think the two have always been combined. But just from a market dynamics perspective, you're talking about something with private golf courses that you basically have a supply of near zero. Unless you're a member or you know a member, you can't play them. And a demand that's close to infinity, right? If you're a golfer like you and I are, we want to play great private golf courses. And so it doesn't take a PhD in economics to understand that that's a really good market dynamic to make something like this happen. I've been blown away by the amounts people are willing to pay, but I think it just goes to this idea that, especially in our generation, we're seeing a move away from things and a move towards experiences, right? And you talk about, you know, a round at Shinnecock. I mean, that's a bucket list experience. And so is it surprising that that went for $11,000? A little bit, but again, it's just, that's a once in a lifetime experience, and this is a chance. And oh, by the way, the money's going to a wonderful cause, in that case, to feed hospital frontline workers affected by COVID.
And some of these courses are the uber exclusive, really hard to get on. Like, you may never get on some of these no matter how hard you try.
That's right. It's like some courses you can't just, some courses you can. You could just say, here's my check and I'm in, but others doesn't work that way. You know, something that's important to me at Member for a Day is I really want the PGA professionals to know who I am and know what my mission's about, and not just think it's some platform to give people access, but it's a platform to raise a substantial amount of money for charity through private golf courses. And so a big thing for me is connecting with the PGA head pros and making sure that they really understand who I am and my mission.
Can you do a little bit of a who's who of some of the clubs that have opened their doors to Member for a Day auctions?
Yeah, well, I mean, even just the one right now. So we have an auction that ends tonight, and so we have the Country Club at Brookline, Sabonic, Aronimic, Sleepy Hollow, Wingfoot, Piping Rock. I mean, it's just the who's who of golf. You know, especially important for me because early in my 20s, I was the classic person that would sit on Golf Club Atlas and look at rankings and look at photos and just literally dream of playing these courses. And now I'm giving people the opportunity to play them, all the while supporting great charities. So for me, it's a little bit of a personal thing that I've been fortunate to play some great courses, but I really want to allow others that same opportunity that I've had, all the while supporting charity.
What surprised you the most about getting access to some of these clubs?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, just like you said, some of the rounds are member sponsored and others are directly from the club. And so when it's member sponsored, it's a little bit easier. The member can kind of control the cadence and the conversation. When it's club direct, there's sometimes a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. But you know, I think back to the moment that I decided to do that COVID auction. I reached out to Scott Chisholm, who's the head pro of Rolling Green just outside Philadelphia, and I sent him a DM on Instagram, and I just said, "Hey Scott, I'm looking to raise some money for COVID relief. Would the club be interested in donating a round of golf?" And he just wrote back, "Yep, absolutely, we're in." And I think that was the moment that maybe things are changing a little bit in golf. I mean, Rolling Green's a fantastic course, obviously private. I was just shocked because I thought his response was gonna be no, if I'm gonna be honest. But it wasn't. I don't know if that was because of COVID. I think in really tough times, obviously we're in a pandemic, I think people's guards are down a little bit, and they also know how much good access to private golf course and how much money it can raise. So yeah, I think to answer your question, I'd like to think it's changing. I think private golf, by definition, it's private, and there's always going to be really exclusive courses that don't want to be sort of front and center. But yeah, they know how much money they can raise for charity, and it's wonderful that they're a little bit more open these days.
What do you have planned for next month?
3 auctions slated for December, all packed in before Christmas. So if anyone's looking for a Christmas or holiday gift, there's gonna be a lot of them. And I'm seeing the list of courses come up, and it's wide and varied. We have more in the Midwest, we have some in the Southeast. So I think that's a big thing for me, right, is a lot of my following and my connections is in the Northeast. Which obviously a lot of great courses there, but I really want to start expanding that Midwest, Southeast, especially west to California and those areas. So yeah, there's going to be a really good list of courses coming in December, and so keep an eye out for that.
What excites you the most about the future of golf in the coming months and years?
Yeah, for me, it's very clear what the future of golf is, and it's things like the sandbox or the cradle. And I look at people like Rob Collins and Tad King, who are good buddies, and they take the traditional model and they just blow it up. I think the idea of a 9 or an 18-hole course, you know, why can't, like Sandbox is 17, you know, why can't we have a 12-hole course? Why can't we have a 6-hole course? Why can't we have a 3-hole course? I think the future of golf is these just mini, very easy to maintain, municipal owned 3, 6, maybe 9-hole courses. I think there's no reason every large city or even minor city should have something like the Winter Park 9. When I think of golf, or I should say the future of golf, it's not these big championship, US Open, impossible courses. It's the fun ones. It's the 6-hole, 9-hole courses that you and I could play in an hour and 15 minutes and still get back in time for work or go there after work before we see the kids. And so that's what I'm most excited about, is playing shoeless, playing with music, holding true to the game itself and playing good golf, but just having fun, right? At the end, this is just a game, and I think that's what it's all about. I feel like this would be good B-roll content. You rock the copper fit socks, huh? Are those the ones they sell on late night infomercials with Brett Favre?
So. I bought these.
I thought those were for like 80-year-olds. Sound check. Makeup. Ketchup. Ketchup.
Unique New York.
Unique New York. Unique New York. For a day. Boom.
Right.
Like I've noticed a lot of the Netflix documentaries do that. Like they actually start with like this scene.
Right. They sit them down.
Are we rolling? I love that.